Hi, my name is Marcia Melconian. I'm the young adult librarian at the Canoga Park branch. And welcome back to Teen Book Bites. These short chats about great books are offered the last Monday of each month at 3 o'clock on LAPL's YouTube and Facebook channels. The Los Angeles Public Library is knee-deep in our winter reading challenge that continues until January 8th. Sign up at lapl.org and look for the Enchantment of Books banner at the top. When you click on it, there's a tile where you can begin your registration. So whether you register online or in person, make sure you come in to get a free book from our offerings. Once you complete 5 tasks on the game board, these are things that you do anyway, like, read a funny book. Your name will be put into a drawing for prize giveaways that you can choose from the online library store. They will mail it right to your home. So if you haven't explored our ebook or audiobook selections, you should download Levy and start checking books out through whatever convenient device suits you. This month's theme is magic. We're here to help you choose your next read, so lean back and listen. Our first young adult librarian is Lear Heller from Teenscape. And she's going to be talking about Bloodlike Magic.
Hello, everyone. I'm Lear from Teenscape at the Central Los Angeles Public Library, and I wanted to share with you all one of my favorite magical books of the year. And I'm going to move over here. Lizelle Sambury's Bloodlike Magic, a first novel in a series by a debut author. Set in a world slightly in the future, Voya Thomas has been waiting for her calling, which every witch must pass in order to access powers that run in her family, until she fails. When she's surprisingly given a second chance, and failure is not an option, for she'd strip her entire family of the magic that sustains them, she's horrified to learn that she must kill her first love. Never having been in love, she joins a genetic matchmaking program, knowing her match must die at her hands. Or do they? Do yourself a favor, resist the urge to read the ending or to flip forward to get any spoilers. I sometimes can't help myself. This wonderfully suspenseful novel will keep you at the edge of your seat, and I'm definitely looking forward to book 2, which is out in August. Thank you.
Very cool, Lear. When was this one released? Do you know?
2021, I want to say. I forget what month, but it's recent.
So smacking new. Very cool. Sounds great. Thanks a lot, Lear. So our next YA librarian is Kelly Lowers from the Studio City branch, and she's going to be talking about the Black Witch Chronicles. Hi, Kelly.
Hello. Thank you. Yes, so if you're looking for a series, little technical difficulty, but hey, if you're looking for a series full of elves, dragons, shapeshifters, and other magical creatures, then this is for you. The Black Witch by Laurie Forrest is the first book in a 5-book series with 2 companion novellas. The Black Witch follows Ellerin Gardner, the granddaughter of the last prophesied Black Witch, who drove back enemy forces and saved the Garnerian people during the Realm War. Despite being the spitting image of her grandmother, Ellerin possesses no magical ability and is content to become an apothecary. Ellerin gets the opportunity to attend Verpax University and start her journey of becoming an apothecary. The university is not what Ellerin expects. She has led a sheltered existence, and everything that she has been taught to believe in is about to be challenged and brought into a whole new light. With increased pressure for her to live up to her heritage, she has begun to question everything that she was conditioned to believe. As she makes new friends and explores new ideas, Ellerin will have to decide if she is willing to change and do what is right. So besides having a whole slew of magical beings, what I like about this book is the heavy topics it does bring up. Books should make you think, even if delivered in a fantasy genre. They should still include some semblance of real-world issues to challenge thinking, open our minds, and cause us to ask important questions. At the center of the story is subject matter that relates to today's issues of racism, xenophobia, homophobia, and bullying. When you're reading, you don't have to like the main protagonist. And in this case, you shouldn't. Honestly, she's pretty awful. But this is a story about growth and redemption where her metamorphosis is the main plot point. This is a story about a very sheltered teen who only knows what she has been taught by those around her. She attends the university just to gain the requirements needed to be an apothecary, but she's exposed to so much more. To quote from the book, real education doesn't make your life easy. It complicates things and makes everything messy and disturbing. But the alternative, Eller Gardner, is to live your life based on injustice and lies. This is a story about realizing you may have been a product of your environment and upbringing, and that what you've been conditioned to believe isn't necessarily right or fair or moral or good. The reality is you may need to seek out and process new ideas, accept teachings from others, embrace change, and learn from questioning everything. There is strength in exposure to diversity and multiculturalism. This is a redemption story. People should be allowed to learn and grow, admit when they're wrong, and change. This book does have a lot of heavy concepts, but the point is to see how Ellerin deals with the disparity between what she has been taught and what she witnesses and experiences for herself. You'll find yourself rooting for her new friends and wanting her to change and see the error of her beliefs. The people who are in power perpetuate the narrow thinking and intolerance she's been raised with. The groundwork is laid for a final battle in Book 5 to end those in power. Aside from the topical issues explored here, the world the story is set in is stunning and magical, full of amazing characters, otherworldly beings. There's a love triangle and some LGBTQ plus side characters. I really do recommend this book and the series. I loved it.
Wow. It sounds like there's a lot going on. So what drew you to this book originally?
Honestly, when I first started as a librarian, someone suggested it.
Oh, cool.
And I got into it. I really got into the subject matter. I could see where a teen could be really sheltered in kind of their own world of family or community or school teachings and not really exploring other issues.
Okay. God, I love that. Great review. Thanks, Kelly. Thanks. Okay, next up, Ziba Perez from Baldwin Hills Branch, and she's going to be talking about Black Girl Unlimited. Hey, Ziba.
Hi, thanks for having me. Yes. Have you ever met a wizard? In Black Girl Unlimited, debut novel from author Echo Brown, our main character with the same name as the author is a wizard. Echo has magical powers. Echo's powers enable her to see who wears the black veil. Black veils of depression engulf many that walk around her. Some you would never expect to be wearing one. Will Echo's powers help at all in keeping the veil from appearing over her head? She suffers from a family struggling with addiction and sexual abuse. With the help of older wizards around her, will she make it? Published in 2020, this book faces the hard realities of many young adults, and with a touch of magical realism, helps us dare to dream of surviving emotional and physical trauma while coming of age.
Wow. So all of these books are about magic, but they really are touching on some very personal and societal issues. Nice.
Yes.
Gosh, Ziba. Thank you. Thank you very much. Next up is Philip Levy from Panorama City Branch, and he's going to be chatting about These Witches Don't Burn.
Hello. So, These Witches Don't Burn is the first in a two-book duology. It's like a trilogy, but two. And the second one, This Coven Won't Break, is also available in the library catalog. Hopefully you'll want to get both, because I only read the first one and had to scramble the place to get the second one, because it's really ends on a place where you're like, I cannot wait to see how this all wraps up. So we all know about the Salem witch trials, which was a scary chapter in United States history in which some girls were burned as witches. But did you know, at least in the world of this book, one of those girls was actually a witch? And there still are witches in Salem. In fact, there are witches all over the country. But it's very important that nobody find out, because as we saw at the Salem witch trials, the regular humans, or regs as they're called here, and yes, they do make reference to the fact that this is kind of like Muggles. The characters know about the Harry Potter universe. Regs do not deal well with the idea of wizards and witches being alive in this world, and they might hunt them down, and they do not want that ever again. Hannah our lead character is she's a witch, type of witch called an elemental, meaning she gets control of the elements, air, fire, water, and earth. And the funny thing is that might be why the title, These Witches Don't Burn, because of course you try to burn someone who controls fire, it's not going to go well for you. Also, it just is a reference to that they're going to stand up for themselves. So she's having a lot of troubles. She's a senior in high school. Her ex-girlfriend, they had an ugly breakup, and she just never wants to see her ex-girlfriend Veronica again. However, they're in the same coven, so they have to see each other all the time. They're also in the same high school. And not to mention, somebody is trying to kill her. Could it be someone from, could it be a blood witch? What does that mean? I'm not going to get into that because there's a lot of great treats ahead of you when you read this book. Or could it be the witch hunters are back? The witches thought they had won against the witch hunters a long time ago and that there were no more. But apparently they are back, and that could be serious trouble for Hannah and her family. Because you see, being a witch is hereditary in this world. So when you have a child, that child has magical powers. So there are 3 types of witches in this book. Elementals, as I mentioned, casters, what we think of as traditional witches who cast spells, and blood witches, who are the darkest of the witches, the most evil, or are they? Is that all a misunderstanding? And they would, if they can get even a drop of your blood, they can use it to cast spells on you to control your body like you're a zombie, even though you're still alive. So there's a lot going on here. It starts off, it's funny and fast moving, and then it gets very suspenseful, and there's a tragedy I can't even hint at that comes out of left field, but believable, and you're like, I cannot believe this is happening. And it's so good. I really love this book. It's you just wish it was a series on HBO that would go on and on for like 6 seasons. So the greatest thing about this book is when she's casting magic or controlling her powers, it's so well written. Those parts you really feel how great it would be to have control of the elements. And it's so if you have any interest in magic or just want to know what it's like to have powers, this is a really good, fun read. And obviously there's a lot of LGBTQ positive representation, and it's a delight. I highly recommend it.
Thanks, Philip. So after you read the second book, you'll have to review that too, because now we want to know.
Absolutely. And I'm glad it's not a trilogy, because some of us don't have time for trilogies. Duologies forever. So the second one, 2 and done, and it's in transit to my branch, so I can get my hands on it very soon.
Very cool. Okay, thanks for sharing, Philip. Next up, we're going to go back to Lear, and she's going to be chatting about witches steeped in gold this time.
I was muted. And to answer your previous question, Bloodlike Magic came out June 2021, and Witches Steeped in Gold came out April 2021. So hello again, I'm Lear. Again, my second recommendation is Witches Steeped in Gold by Shannon Smart. First of all, look at this cover. One of my favorites of the year. I'm all about covers. This gorgeous Jamaican-inspired fantasy debut is about 2 witches on opposite sides that must work together to defeat a common enemy. One has spent many years in a cell, but has been closer to freedom and therefore revenge than ever before. The other is the queen's daughter, who is not interested in helping her family lineage thrive. With rich world building, high stakes, and subterfuge around every corner, this probing read will keep the reader at the edge of their seats and anticipating the next in the series. And do yourself a favor and listen to the audiobook. The voice acting is excellent. And the winter break is the perfect time to start some new books. Thanks.
Thanks for pitching the audiobook, because so many of these books are available as audiobooks, and it's if you just close your eyes, you can imagine the whole thing happening in front of you.
Yeah, it's a great way to read books. I just started listening to audiobooks this past year.
Cool. Thanks, Lear. Very cool. Okay, last up, Kelly, here we go with Vesper Teen. I hope I pronounced that right.
Yes, I think so. I'm going to go with that too. Vesper Teen. So this was an enjoyable start to a new fantasy series about a teenage introverted nun who gets forced into saving everyone from the evils of dark magic. Vesper Teen by Margaret Rogerston centers around, I'm going to not get her character name right, Artemisia, who is trained to be a Grey Sister, a nun who cleanses the bodies of the deceased so their souls can pass on. Otherwise, they will rise as spirits with a ravenous hunger for the living. Our main character prefers the dead over the living and plans to be a Grey Sister for life. When her convent is attacked by possessed soldiers, Artemisia defends it by awakening an ancient spirit bound to a saint's relic. It is a revenant, a malevolent being that threatens to possess her the moment she drops her guard. Accepting the fact that a snarky, malevolent being now shares her headspace, Artemisia starts on her path of unraveling a sinister labyrinth of saints, secrets, and dark magic. Using the Revenant's power, can Artemisia save the people before her own evil being consumes her? Normally, this isn't a story that I would get into, but I really enjoyed Margaret Rogerston's other novel, Sorcery of Thorns, and decided to give this a chance. I'm really glad I did. I actually ended up really enjoying it. There was a pretty good amount of action, and I really enjoyed the snarky back and forth dialogue between Artemisia and the Revenant. Another thing I found refreshing is that there's no romance in this story. There might be a possibility of one going forward, but I really liked that the story was focused on our main protagonist's journey, her struggle to control the Revenant, and solve who or what is behind the possessions and deaths. The ending was a bit open-ended to allow for more books in the series, which I guess is what the author's going to do, but satisfying enough to keep the book as a standalone. So I really suggest this if you're looking for a good fantasy book with no romance, filled with spirits, dark magic, an introverted main character, and evil forces.
Very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Okay, you guys, that's it for this month. But next month, Teen Book Bites will be all about manga. And it's going to be on Monday, January 31st. And again at 3 o'clock. Also, Tuesday, December 28th at 4 o'clock. Do you want to learn about something about something that is multicultural, DIY, built by minorities, established outside the graces of a regressive mainstream, no rules, no hierarchy, and inclusive for all people? Well, skateboarding is it. Learn some stuff, including how to ride and how to do some tricks. You can watch it on LAPL's YouTube and Facebook Live. While you're on winter break, try a virtual film club, a weekly art circle, Tea Time Tuesdays, or join a book club or a Teens Leading Change social justice project. Make your break count for you. Check all this out and more by looking through the lapl.org calendar of events. There's tons of stuff listed there. And hey, be kind to the people around you. It's the best kind of magic to start the new year. Thank you, everybody.